Hello, welcome to Off the Shelf Reviews.
I'm a sucker for your boom shanga langa boom shanga langa.
And I'm Gary. And today we're going to review and discuss The Hateful Eight, which came out in 2015, written and directed by Quentin Tarantino. Ian, why don't you give us the synopsis?
Well, the story follows the bounty hunter John Roof as he's on his way to deliver his $10,000 bounty to the town of Red Rock. He's found himself caught in a blizzard and stuck at Minnie's haberdashery with 7 other people. But one of these people ain't really who they say they is, and things might just get a little bit messy.
This is a film that almost didn't get made.
Really?
You know, because Tarantino wrote the script for it and it leaked online.
Wow.
And so everyone could just read the whole script, figure out who the killer was, what was going to happen at the end, and kind of ruin all the surprise. And so Tarantino was like, well, fuck yous all. I ain't making it. And it took a little while for a couple of people to convince him. I think they did an entire cast reading of the script. And it was just like, nah, you have to make this film. And so Tarantino was kind of like, okay, I'll make it. I'll redraft the script and then to the final film that we have today.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Tarantino, Ian. And I saw this film just after it came out, early 2016.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen it since. And so when I was rewatching this film again, I was like, I've kind of forgotten some of the details.
Really?
But, wow.
Did he write this before he wrote Django?
He wrote this after. This was almost... It was intended originally to be a sequel to Django.
Really? No, Tarantino don't do sequels.
He doesn't.
He don't do other than part 2.
He considers Kill Bill 1 and 2 one film.
Yes,
it's
a volume.
Film.
It's a volume. This is the 8th film, and I don't go and watch Tarantino movies in the cinema. I just don't. You know, I'm more of a. My first time watching a Tarantino movie was on VHS. You know, Reservoir Dogs,
Pulp Fiction.
You know, Jackie Brown. You know, and then they start coming out on DVD, and people start saying, you know, Tarantino's really good, and I'm like, you just caught up. You know, Tarantino was good back in the 90s, and every time he drops a movie, people are biting. You know, they're biting at the bit. We just seen the release of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which has just basically gone, knock knock, hey, who's there? Quentin Tarantino. You know, Quentin Tarantino with a movie.
Right.
You know, and you're like, oh, okay. And so...
Well, I have to say that this film, of all of Tarantino's films, would have been best seen in the cinema.
Oh yeah.
Simply because of the Super Panavision 70.
Yeah.
Which is why it's kind of super widescreen, so there's lots of black space on the top and bottom of the frame.
Oh yeah, he always, you know, Tarantino goes, look in this box.
Yeah,
this is where the film is. And yeah, like you said, I wish I'd seen it in this one in the cinema.
Well, there was only
because it's just
a few select cinemas in the world, and only in America, where he literally got special projectors put into theaters, which cost Miramax hundreds of thousands of dollars, just to have special screenings of this film, because there hasn't been a film made in over 50 years that has this aspect ratio, which is the super widescreen, which is what you would really consider for landscapes, you know, landscape photography
for
to really
Westerns.
capture the vistas.
Yeah, for most old 70s and 60s Westerns.
But this film is all set indoors.
Not all of it.
Okay, 98% of this film is indoors.
Yeah. And you need still that whole vision, because there are certain shots in the movie where the camera just pans out to reveal this whole entire room of characters discussing, and you're like, your focus is on there.
Absolutely. It's like a stage play where you can have all the players on screen always.
Oh yeah, totally.
And because of the way that it's filmed, you get to see so many details in all of the actors, you know, all of their facial expressions or their movements.
Yeah.
It just kind of brings the whole film to life for me.
Yeah.
You got a good eye, son.
Well, I'll be double dog damn.
So we start off with the stagecoach making its way across the mountains in the snow, and like we said, like we were just gushing over the visuals. And when you come across Samuel L. Jackson sat in the middle of the road on top of 3 white dead men, you know, frozen, he's just chilling.
Yeah, he's actually sat on Django's saddle.
Really?
Yeah. Like I said, it's not a sequel to Django, but there's props and things that are carried on over.
Little throw-ins. And you just get immediately introduced to Samuel Jackson's character of Marcus Warren. Major Warren, and the hangman John Reef, Kurt Russell. Oh man, I'd forgotten at this point when I watched Hateful Eight at home for the first time. I'd forgotten how much I missed Kurt Russell. As soon as I saw him pop out with that beard, and I'm like, why don't we have more westerns with him in? Him and his beard.
Well, you got Tombstone and Bone Tomahawk.
Yeah, and then we got to miss Santa Claus, which was really, really cool.
Yeah.
But just the whole dialogue, interplay between it's so Tarantino. It's so good to listen to. And I'm trying obviously not to be too biased with this film, but I can't help it. The fact that the two of them are just playing off of each other. They know each other, but they don't trust each other.
They know each other's reputations, and they did meet each other once before.
Yeah.
But yeah, they have that conversation where he's just like, look, I want to get into the carriage with you. I need you to save my life, basically.
Yeah, I did.
But I'm a bounty hunter, and I know you're escorting your bounty, and you want it alive.
Well, that's it.
So John Roof is just like, look, this is a setup. You're clearly here to steal my bounty.
But he doesn't know who the bounty is, or he plays off the fact that he doesn't know. He's like, who the hell is this? And it's just like, oh, this is Daisy Dermague. She's this notorious criminal, and Jennifer Jason Leigh.
She's a fantastic actress.
Yeah, thanks. like I'm trying not to be too positive with this movie, but right.
She's been great since the 90s. I loved her in Existence.
Yeah, and she's just sat there just opposite Kurt Russell, but you already get the feeling that she's a nasty person. Like, this is a witch. There's a shot at one point after I think Kurt Russell has smacked her in the face, and it really close up of Jennifer Jason Leigh's face, and she just has this really witch-like view.
She's licking the blood off of her face.
She will scratch your eyes out. And
yeah, now it was at that moment that I was like, yeah, Kurt Russell's in the film. I love Kurt Russell. And when he smacks her in the face, I'm like, you are a dick.
Yeah, now, is that wrong? She's a prisoner.
From my sensibilities, it is wrong.
Well, she's a prisoner and she's a murderous criminal.
I know,
so I'm all about equal rights.
But
and if
we've not been shown that.
No, we're talking the late 1800s America. We're talking cowboys and Indians shoot you in the back without even fucking, talking. And the fact that, like I said, this is the second time I've watched this movie. I'm picking up all those little extra details this time around. And I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, shit, violence against women, I'm not all for it. But then again, Jennifer Jason Leigh looks evil. So I'd happily shoot her in the face if she came at me.
Still, she has my sympathy at this point. And I find it strange that throughout the entire runtime of the film, my sympathy changes to each character throughout the film. And then by the end of it, you're exasperated. And you're just like, I don't give a shit about any of them anymore. Like, fuck y'all.
Fuck y'all.
Now, Daisy, I want us to work out a signal system of communication.
We get introduced to the Lincoln letter by Kurt Russell. Like we said, they had met before in another town, him and Samuel Jackson, and Samuel Jackson plays a character who's had been around in the Civil War and had been pen pals with Abraham Lincoln. And so he'd shown Kurt Russell this letter at one point, and now he wants to see it again. And so it's a kind of really nice, beautiful moment. I love the shot of just the side shot, the three of them sat in the carriage is just bobbing along. They're all having their little moment looking at this amazing letter. Like, you don't know the time zone, so
it's between, Tarantino said it's either 6, 8 or 10 years after the Civil War.
Right, but that's it. I mean, he brings up John Wilkes Booth at one point, who shot Lincoln. So I get the feeling that Lincoln is dead at this point. So this letter is like a rarity, and he's reading it, and you can see from Kurt Russell's facial expressions about, how he feels connected at this point with Abraham Lincoln. And when Jennifer Jason Leigh's Daisy character spits blood on it, and Samuel Jackson smacks her out the side of the wagon, and Kurt Russell goes with her, I fucking die. I just break down. You didn't really expect it. Everything was just going so well. Yeah. And that's the thing with this movie, I find that everything goes so well for a short period until things just...
But that's Tarantino, though. That sudden kind of burst of violence.
Yeah. Just this thrust in the face. But, like this film plays it so well that it feels so natural, because he's just elbowed her out the stage. They're out in the snow. They're talking about the letter. Kurt Russell's so angry at Daisy, he could forget his $10,000 and just let the major beat the shit out of her. And then OB, the stagecoach driver, shouts that there's another guy walking in the snow. And I just love Kurt Russell's line of, there's an awful lot of men walking around in the blizzard right now.
Right. And he's like, it's a setup. You're all in on it.
Yeah.
And so he's like, right, handcuff you.
Yeah.
And then we're going to question this guy. And he explains that he is to be the sheriff of Red Rock, where they're heading to.
Yeah.
And he'd be the one to kind of pay the bounties for both of them.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, we kind of have to take your word on this. And, of course, Kurt Russell's character recognizes him as well. He's the son of somebody else from the war.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you can get in, you can travel with us. And that is where, the racial tensions really come to the forefront. Now,
they'd always been there since the start, with Kurt Russell just using the N-word.
Yeah.
On Samuel Jackson, and it's just so natural. That's another thing. Like, I mean, it feels unnatural to your ears, but the time it's set in, the characters these guys are playing, the attitudes, the situation they're in, it just feels so natural. Like you said as well, with the whole beating up on women. It just weirdly just feels so natural and so uncomfortable at the same time.
Red Rock is my town now. And I'm gonna enter my town in bounty hunters' chains. No, sir. Sorry, bushwhackers.
Walton Goggins playing Chris Mannix, I think the second time round is still my favourite character of this whole entire film.
He has probably the only character arc in the film.
Well, he has a relationship that works all the way through with the Major's character, because Chris Mannix is from the south and the Major was in the north, and there was a prisoner of war camp called Hellenbeck, and the Major had escaped from there by burning the whole thing down and killing like 47 rebel soldiers. And he'd escaped all the way to the north, joined in the cavalry, and obviously got the letter from Lincoln and rode around and became a big war hero. But to Chris Mannix, he also killed loyal soldiers to the north, and he had to serve some time in the prison. And so he's just as bad. And I love this whole interplay between the two of them, because, it finishes on a joke where Samuel Jackson puts that gun to the side of his head and just like, I don't want to use the N-word because of the review, so you're going to have to just imagine I'm saying it. And then Chris Mannix's character like, oh, I'm just going to go sleep now. I'm going to let the stagecoach rock me to sleep. Now, guys. And you're like, he is definitely not wanting this bounty. He is definitely not part of this whole paranoia.
Yeah.
And
so, they eventually arrive at Minnie's haberdashery, which is about 40 minutes into the film.
yeah.
So all this was just character setup.
Man, it feels like 400 miles, the fact they're traveling across those hills.
Right. And then we're greeted by Mexican Bob.
Yeah, well, he takes the horses with Chris and the Major because, Kurt Russell's just like, you guys, you need to work. I'm the one paying for this whole traveling and we need to stop here, so you get on that job. But I already know something is up, right from the start of the film.
Well, yeah.
But majorly, as soon as he walks into that haberdashery, the door's broken, and there's just three guys just sat casually there like, hey guys, yeah, just come in, get yourself warmed up. And I'm like, where's Minnie?
It's the look for me on Bruce Dern's face as he looks at Kurt Russell as he enters. It's kind of, his eyes are telling you like something's wrong.
I fucking love Bruce Dern. I mean, one of my all-time favorite movies that he's always been in was Silent Running.
Right.
I always just loved that film. I saw it when I was a kid. And now when you're watching him just get older and older, when he's just sat there, just an old man, like, I don't want to talk to anybody, just go away. You're like, you know something.
Oh, yeah.
You know something. I mean, what, Tim Roth, veteran from fucking Reservoir Dogs, just amazing goddamn actor. And just stood there. He's too inquisitive. Just asking too many questions. I mean, if it's one thing about English people, it's annoying that they're fucking so inquisitive.
It's his over-the-top English accent.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a Monty Python sketch.
Yeah.
The good part about frontier justice is it's very thirst-quenching. The bad part is it's apt to be wrong.
just feels, like I said, it just feels so unnatural. It's just like he's a bad guy, but then like anybody, all of them could be bad guys, because we have Michael Madsen, legendary Michael Madsen, veteran again, sat in the back just, oh, I'm an old cowpoke, I'm just on my way to my mama, and Kurt Russell's like, no, you ain't. No, you ain't. You fucking, you okay, you sit there. You just sit there. And like you said, it's the amazing Jennifer Jason Leigh. It's just, second time round, she knows.
Yeah. She knows that somebody there is there to help her break free. And Kurt Russell's kind of like assuming this himself. Like straight away, he's just like, look, somebody is trying to steal this bounty from you, or somebody's going to try and rescue her.
It's $10,000, yeah. It's a lot of money.
Exactly. And so he's just trying to get to know who everybody is and figure things out. Also, Samuel Jackson, he's in the barn with the Mexican guy.
Yeah.
And he's just like, look, something's also not right here.
Yeah.
And so as an audience member, you're just like, okay, so somebody isn't who they say they are.
Yeah.
And when they're all in the cabin and the blizzard's outside, you're just like, this is starting to remind me of something else.
Oh, yeah.
John Carpenter's The Thing was a massive influence on Quentin Tarantino for this film. So much so that Tarantino made the entire cast watch The Thing before they went into production for this film. And of course, you also have Kurt Russell.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
And on top of that, you also have Ennio Morricone, who did the music for
Yes.
The Thing, doing the music for this as well.
Yeah, and like the fact that the chapters are just been dropping in, just kind of easing you into each section of the movie, that once they're all in the haberdashery, like I said, the first time I watched it, I was like, nobody told me this was The Thing. Nobody told me they were just going to do The Thing in a Western.
Without a monster, a human monster.
Well, yeah, that's fucking awesome. How, and then that's it. That's all we ever discuss about after you watch The Hateful Eight is, it's how it's so much like The Thing, and it's got Kurt Russell there, and I'm just like, I could just sit for the next 3 hours and watch this all over again, because now you're just waiting for the mystery to unfold.
Yes.
But it's so comfortable.
It's all character development, character building. Now, a few criticisms of the film say that it's boring and that nothing happens, but I'm just so invested that time outside of the film could be going at double speed. It's just I get lost in the dialogue and in the characters and in the camera work and in the music. In the atmosphere and the mood, the tension is palpable.
Yeah. When you're watching like them all sat around the table and they're eating stew, just happy having stew. They could be there for a couple of days, so they might as well just
Mannix
sit
sits next to Major Warren. It's like the racism is there, but they're like, it's all in a look. Like he doesn't need to drop N-bombs right there.
When he drops about the Lincoln letter, we'd had this beautiful moment, like I said right at the beginning, about the Lincoln letter, and then Chris Mannix brings up the face.
Well, it's the bond between John Roof and Major Warren. It's like they became friends over this letter. They also had a level of trust with the fact that I'll protect you and your bounty if you protect me and my bounty. That's $18,000, 10 for me, 8 for you. We'll look after each other. But when Chris Mannix starts going on about how there's no way Abraham Lincoln would write a letter to Major Warren.
And the fact that Major Warren just drops it and goes, hell yeah, I did it. Yeah, I lied. Why'd you lie for? Because you wouldn't talk to me else. Because I'm just...
It saved his life.
The colour of my skin has made us, obviously, complete enemies over time. Even though we've suffered in all this different shit and we fought these guys and had to fight for our lives, you only trusted me because I pretended to have a letter from the President of the United States. And I'm like,
right.
This is more impactful. This completely takes away the fact that somebody here is trying to kill the John Roof for the bounty. It distracts you. And somebody saying, nothing really happens, is somebody not paying attention. That's my opinion. Because if you're not paying attention, if you weren't paying attention that this movie was going to be 3 hours long, and you weren't paying attention in the first 10 minutes that there was going to be a lot of talking, and you thought it was just going to be a massive shootout in the first half an hour, and we were going to sit there for 2.5 hours just twiddling our thumbs, then that was your mistake, because I didn't make that mistake. I knew I was going to get Samuel Jackson delivering to me an epic monologue to Kurt Russell, and all I had to look at was their eyes and feel how it just completely changes the atmosphere of the room.
Completely, yeah. I mean, Jennifer Jason Leigh, she just bursts out hysterically laughing at John Roof for his kind of naivety.
Yeah.
And he just throws his stew right in her face. And it's just the hurt look in his eyes as he's looking at Major Warren. Like, you fucking hurt my feelings, man. Why'd you lie to me? And their bond is kind of broken for the rest of the film from then on.
Yeah.
But then we move into the next kind of set piece where the general that's been sat in the chair has kind of provoked Major Warren.
No. He's just sat there quietly.
He provoked him by explaining, and his reputation of burning all of the black men that were under his command kind of left them all.
Yeah, but Bruce Dern's character is an old man wanting to come out to Wyoming to find his son, you know, and he hasn't done anything. All he's done is sit there in that chair. He hasn't, you know, people have brought him stuff. They brought him a blanket, they brought him coffee, they brought him stew. He's done nothing, and that's what's always made me feel like there's something innocent about his character in all of this, because he's not doing anything. You know, everybody else is antagonizing each other. Everybody else is threatening each other. Everybody else, you know, the Major is calling out Mexican Bob. He knows there's something not right with Mexican Bob. You know, John Roof doesn't trust any of these motherfuckers because they all want the bounty. Right. You know, and Chris Mannix is like, I just want to get the Red Rock. I just want to get it. And the general is not said anything. But after that revealment of the letter, you know, it is Samuel L. Jackson who walks over and takes the stew to him. And they start talking about the battle. And the battle of Baton Rouge was what had separated them, you know, because they had both been at the battle on different sides.
Yeah.
And the general didn't want to talk about it because obviously his racism and all that kind of stuff. But when he mentions about his son, Samuel Jackson's delivery of what he did to the son. Now,
some people have speculated that this is all made up because we are shown it in a flashback, but because Samuel Jackson's words are literally put in the other guy's mouth.
Yep.
If you just let me go home to my family, I swear I'll never set foot in Wyoming again.
Yeah. It's like, so all this could be just made up because he's literally putting words in his mouth.
Oh yeah, you could have just shot the guy in the back and just left him in a shallow dirt.
That's probably most likely what happened.
But he's provoking the general.
With the entire kind of story about how he begged for his life and how he told him to strip naked and marched him for hours in the snow.
Yeah, Major Marquis wanted to shoot General Smithers the moment he walked into the fucking place, but he couldn't do it.
Because the hangman told him, like, if you do, it's illegal.
It's murder. The sheriff here will fucking arrest you and we'll have to hang you. So he... And Chris Mannix stands up twice and tells him to basically fuck off. Right. Leave him alone. And I suppose that's my criticism, that nobody just immediately pulls a gun on the Major, but the Major has made it perfectly clear he will fucking shoot you for no reason if he has to.
Yeah, well,
he's not going to keep you alive. There's that beautiful sequence at the beginning with Kurt Russell where he says, "Look, you know, they never said the job was easy," and fucking Samuel Jackson's like, "They never said the job's supposed to be hard. That's why I shoot on my bastards." And I'm like, "Yeah, I can relate.
Yeah,
I'll shoot first and ask questions later if I have to." But giving that gun to the old man is asking for a fight. The delivery of that story, the visuals we're hit with, are just, you know, you want to just fucking shoot him. Bruce Dern's face is telling you, no, this is a lie. I believe my son's dead, but I don't believe he sucked a black man's cock on the side of a mountain in the fucking snow. And Samuel Jackson's like, well, he fucking did. And the moment he pulls up, you know, the Major's got him.
Yeah, and it's at this point I was just like, you know, I liked Kurt Russell until he kind of started smacking Daisy around.
Yeah.
I liked Samuel Jackson until he provoked this moment.
Yeah.
But I'm like, well, they're racist. They're all hateful. It's like
they're hateful, ain't they?
They really are.
Hateful 7 now.
yeah. But yeah, you know, they can't touch the Major because he was defending himself because, you know, the Colonel went for the gun.
He did go for the gun, yeah.
Now, in the original script, it was supposed to be a much more brutal death where the Bruce Dern's character was meant to have fallen in the fire and then set on fire and then been screaming, burning, and but they're like, no, we'll cut that.
That's a bit much, especially at this first stage, because this is like the first death. You know, when we were expecting it, it's a Quentin Tarantino movie.
Yeah.
We were waiting for the deaths, and Bruce Dern's dead now, and I'm like, well, that's it. Now they're all just bad guys now. Personally, for me, apart from Chris Mannix, because like I said, he's still he tried to stop the whole process.
So as we get into chapter 4, there is a great sequence where they're eating. And they're having difficulty because he's handcuffed to her.
Yeah.
And so he's like, I'm going to uncuff you, but doesn't mean I'm going soft on you. And after that, she's like, can I go and play the guitar? And he's just like, yeah, okay, you can play the guitar. And we get this great moment where, you know, it's actually Jennifer Jason Leigh singing the song.
Singing and playing the song. It's beautiful. It's really good.
And when it's finished, Kurt asks her, is there another verse to it?
Yeah.
And she makes up another one, which offends him. So he grabs the guitar and smashes it on the side. Unbeknownst to Kurt Russell, that this was a $50,000 antique guitar that was borrowed from a museum. They made like 12 replicas of this for the purposes of him smashing it.
Yeah.
But the memo didn't get to Kurt, so he took the actual antique guitar and smashed it to smithereens.
The moment, like second time watching this film, the moment Jennifer Jason Leigh goes, whoa, 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 I paused it. And the look on her face as that guitar smashes against that wood.
Yeah.
Like I've done some stupid shit in my time, Kurt Russell, but damn.
Music time's over. Turn around.
Kurt Russell said he forever feels guilty for that. He broke his heart that he destroyed it.
But at the moment you unpause it, it flows into the next scene, and it's just so natural. You know, like that's real life shit. But in the film, you know, she's just played that whole song, you know, knowing full well that somebody has poisoned the coffee. Now, I never liked this the first time around when I was watching it, where the narrator just appears at chapter 4.
It's Quentin Tarantino is the narrator.
Yeah, I got that, but it's like it's the first time he's ever narrated one of his films.
Yeah.
And
it's the only, you know, brief moment of narration. It's not the beginning, it's not the end, it's just here at chapter 4.
It's just so weird hearing his voice explain what happened 15 minutes before, and weirdly enough, I kind of need it.
Yeah.
Because every time a chapter comes up, time moves on, doesn't it? You know,
not far. Because the whole film takes place over one day.
But yeah, but in his movies they usually do, so that's what I'm normally used to. And so in this one I'm used to it. But then jumping back and giving us this slight revealment, and then having this whole build up a scene, knowing full well that you're watching OB and John Ruth drink the coffee which is poisoned. You're on edge. All the way up until he handcuffs her.
Yeah. It's that moment when he just vomits blood all over the table. And he looks over at OB, who just vomits blood up everywhere as well.
Yeah.
It's just like, God damn.
And weirdly enough, like, everybody in the background doesn't do anything. You know? Chris Mannix is stood there holding a cup of coffee like, what the fuck? And it's only, like, quickly that he reveals, that he realizes it's in the coffee and he throws it away.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, Major Warren doesn't make a move. You know, Joe Gage, Michael Madsen's character doesn't make a move. Uncle English Bob, none of them run to go, oh my God, what the hell's wrong? They just stand back and watch Kurt Russell and Jennifer Jason Leigh fight while he's puking blood all over the place, and then she blasts him.
It's a great moment.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you're just like...
Well, Kurt Russell's dead now.
Yeah, well, he was a dick, so I don't get me wrong, I fucking love Kurt Russell, and he plays an asshole really well.
Yeah.
It's just rare to see him, you know, such a villain.
Yeah.
I mean, Tarantino likes to subvert your actors and turn them, you know, because obviously with Death Proof as well, where he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
But, you know, now, and then OB kind of just vomits and dies as well. You're just like, well, that's two of them dead right there.
Yeah.
And so you're just like, well, who do I trust now? It's like, well, I kind of trust Mannix because he took the coffee away. He was like, you know, he wasn't aware of it, but we still don't know who poisoned. Now, every character in the cabin is wearing black gloves. And all we saw was the black gloves that poisoned it.
And no, it definitely, I don't think it was the Major. It definitely wasn't Samuel Jackson, and it definitely wasn't Chris Mannix. There's a weird sense of goodness in a bunch of characters and a weird sense of badness in a bunch of characters. Like I don't trust Joe Gage and I don't trust
Oswaldo.
Yeah, Oswaldo, sorry. And I don't trust Mexican Bob. You know, where the fuck is Minnie? You know, Samuel Jackson knows something's not right. He knows Minnie's haberdashery like the fucking back of his hand.
Next chapter is all about, is him trying to deduce what actually happened. And he lines them all up against the wall. Yeah. And he's like, now we're going to figure out what happened.
Yeah. But he calls back Chris Mannix because he's like, you'd have been too stupid to poison the fucking thing and try to drink it yourself. He's like, oh, thanks, man.
Right. And so then he starts to recall, like, about the sign, which used to say, no dogs and no Mexicans. But Minnie changed her mind. Yeah. She started to let dogs in. But she took the sign down. And then he talks about Sweet Dave in the chair that he would always be saying. Never moved from that chair, Sweet Dave.
If I can sit in Sweet Dave's chair, something's not right.
There's a big blood stain there.
Yeah.
And of course, the broken door as well. And so all these things start to add up that something's gone on.
Yeah, but he knows Mexican Bob's in on it because, like we said, there's no Mexicans in Minnie's haberdashery. But he doesn't know who poisoned the coffee, and they killed OB. So it's weird that we know that these guys are bad guys, but the main characters, as smart as they are, they still don't know how bad these bad guys are.
Yeah.
Because he shoots Mexican Bob and then fucking blam, 2 shots to the fucking face, and I'm like, whoa, okay, you are fucking killing everybody now.
So I'm just going to mention now that it's legendary special effects designer Greg Nicotero, who did the special effects for the blood and the splatter and the head explosion,
the squigs. Just like you look at the different type, like the violence exceeds as the movie goes on to bigger and bloodier things. But when they just kind of start off with, like, you know, Bruce Dern didn't need to fall into the fireplace, like we said.
Yeah.
He just had to be shot through the chest and fall on the floor dead. You know, but fucking Mexican Bob takes 2 shots to the chest and then 2 to the fucking face. You know, and you're then waiting because you're like, who's gonna make the next move? You know Joe Gage is thinking something, and you know Mowbray is up to something. And the first time I watched this, I didn't know Channing Tatum was in the movie. I didn't realise
he wasn't in the posters.
He wasn't in the posters. He wasn't in anything like that. So when I see him look up through the floorboards and fire both guns into the ballsack of Samuel Jackson, I'm like, whoa!
Yeah, it's one hell of a moment where he's screaming in agony.
Yeah.
But then it flashbacks again to earlier that day, where we see the gang turn up at Minnie's haberdashery.
Oh, so
you see all the boots, one after another get off the carriage as they go in. And, Minnie's welcoming them in. She's like, yeah, we got the best coffee on the mountain.
Yep.
And you just watch the gang just move into position for each one of them to make their strike. Bob is hanging over the back of the chair.
Yeah.
And
Michael Madsen's talking to Zoe Bell's 6-horse Judy. She's gorgeous, dressed in that outfit.
Definitely.
I just find out. I'm actually a big fan of Minnie as well. Actually, she got a fat ass. That girl, I like her fat ass.
But the gang all give each other that look, and it's like the signal. And it's like go, and it's just gunshot. And Zoe Bell, she's kind of half still alive, like clinging onto his jacket, and you just see that there's no remorse.
No,
they just kill them.
That's the way of life. This is how they've always lived, haven't they? He's after rescuing his sister. He doesn't want to see his sister hang. They've grown up together and fought and killed and murdered and raped and pillaged. This is just Tuesday to these guys,
But they know that John is on his way here with his sister.
Yeah.
And so they're like, we're going to get into position and we're going to bide our time and wait for the right opportunity to strike, because John Roof is going to have a gun at her chest or at her belly.
He'll kill her the first chance he has. So I don't fuck it up. I hate it when Minnie gets shot, fucking Gemma gets shot, Zoe Bell gets shot, but there's that last like Sweet Dave gets stabbed in the back, which I always think is a bit fucking harsh. Mexican Bob's a really bad shot. He's the one who put a hole in the door. That's why that doesn't mean nailed shut. Which that little thing, you're like, that makes sense. But it's the guy who was looking after the horses when they rolled up.
Yeah.
And he gets winged and runs to the side of the house, and Michael Madsen just casually just walks after him, clicks his double barrel, and the guy's pleading for his life. Like I just literally started a week ago, and blam, and you're like, fuck.
No mercy.
No mercy.
No remorse.
And that's what I expect next, because I'm waiting for fucking Jody to die, and when he gets called out, you know, by the general, by the major, who's now lying on the bed in Minnie's, and he's like, man, I'm dying. Get your goddamn ass out of here, or I'm going to blow your sister away. You know, when Channing Tatum comes up and he's looking at Daisy like, hey, how you doing? And it's such a little sweet moment. And they're like, oh my God. BAM! Like, yeah!
Fucking brain chunks just fly at her face. Gets tangled in her hair. It's just like, God damn.
God damn. She is screaming. She's like, he was unarmed. And Samuel Jackson's like, well,
he took too long to surrender.
Yeah, fuck him,
What an
motherfucker.
asshole.
Shot me in the fucking balls.
Right.
Yeah. It's just... You know, this whole time as well, Joe Gage is like stood there, like he hasn't pulled a gun. They got rid of their guns earlier in the film, so he's completely unarmed.
Well,
and everybody's still, like, there's still a hint of, oh, he's not in on it kind of thing, because he's playing so innocent. But you're like, no, just blast him, blast her, blast the other guy.
Well, we saw in the flashback, Oswaldo put a gun underneath the table
Yes,
as well. And
planting
so
weapons all over the place.
during this moment, he takes the opportunity to bring that gun up and start shooting, and he shoots Chris Mannix in the leg.
Yeah.
Before then Oswaldo gets shot in the stomach and he's down.
Yeah.
And so then you've just got Michael Madsen kind of left there.
Yeah.
And he's just like, well, can I sit down at this table?
Yeah.
And of course there's another gun placed underneath that one as well, and he just kind of sits there.
Yeah.
And then the dialogue is they're bleeding out and they're dying, and it's just like them all now realizing who each other is.
Yeah, we get revealed that obviously they're one big gang. You know, Daisy and Jody were obviously the leaders, and now Daisy is the big leader, and there could be 15 people in the town of Red Rock right now waiting for a signal to ransack the town. You know, fucking Mexican Bob had like a $30,000 bounty on his head or something. You know, Jody's got like 20,000. Daisy's got 10. English Bob's got 15. You know, it's this big reveal of all this money, you know, just being in this room. You know, and I feel I know what Quentin Tarantino was trying to do with the Chris Mannix character at this point, but I completely looked through it just because of Walton Goggins' performance as Chris Mannix. You know, Daisy is trying to convince him to take the money. Kill the major, let me go, take the money, and you'll be rich for the rest of your life. And I just knew, because of the relationship interplay between the major and Chris Mannix, that even though they hate each other, even though there was deep-rooted racism there, even though that they probably fought and killed each other's friends and families, and, you know, they would shoot each other in the back if they could, at this moment in time, in this situation, they are partners, and they want to see her dead.
Well, I mean, it's not revealed to you straight away, is it?
No,
because at the
no.
time you've got
but
Major Warren kind of laying in his deathbed, kind of looking at Chris Mannix like, you motherfucker.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You're going to sell me out.
No, he's not. He's the new sheriff. He's
But yeah,
a
the
good guy.
twist comes where he's just like, yeah, no deal.
No deal,
And you're just
bitch.
like, yes.
And it's just like, how are we going to take her out? We could just shoot her in the head, but we're both dead anyway. You know, we're stuck in the middle of a fucking blizzard with bullet wounds in us.
Yeah.
And it's
so
like...
Michael Madsen, you know, he pulled the gun as well
Yeah.
at one point. He gets shot and killed.
fucking blasted.
Oswaldo still sat in the chair, kind of bleeding out like he did in Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah, but Samuel Jackson's just like, fuck you, bitch, you know.
And so they're just like, look, we can't kill Daisy. Like, we're going to have to... We're going to honour John Roof.
Yeah,
who said, when you're captured by the hangman, you hang.
hang.
And so the two of them, you know, working together, overcoming diversity,
Yeah.
managed to summon the strength to literally noose her and tie her up and hang her.
Yeah. See, I sit there and I'm like, I would make a move. Like, she's already been shot twice. You know, Chris Mannix at one point had already passed out. You know, the whole argument he'd had with her about leading an army. You're just a fucking gangbanger. My daddy was a fucking, you know, general. You know, it just fills you up. And then when he passes out, he has to wake up and shoot her.
Yeah.
And I'm just
Just
like,
in time.
Yeah, I'm just like, just run at them. You know, they'll blast you. But it's this, you know, it's the imagery of the movie. I'm already in for the long haul. I'm telling myself to shut up because I'm watching Jennifer Jason Leigh get pulled up and struggle, and I'm like, yeah. Secretly, it's like, this is justice,
Right.
You know, this is weird kind of humankind, American frontier gun at the face justice.
Frontier justice.
Frontier justice.
And we have in the closing moments, he's like, "Can I see that Lincoln letter?" He reads it and he's like, "Yeah, that was a nice touch." Kind of scrumples it up and throws it away. And the camera starts, panning backwards.
Yeah.
And they both lay there to die because we know that the blizzard's still going to be at least another 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
They're both running out of blood. It's like they're both dead. Like, savage. But what a feeling the film leaves you with. You know? It's just like, wow.
The music just settles you in and you're just like, that was amazing.
Right.
That was amazing.
So, Iain, your favourite scenes from The Hateful Eight?
Oh man, I have so many. A lot of them are just conversational pieces. The interplay between Samuel Jackson and John Roof at the beginning with the letter. The whole him slapping Jennifer Jason Leigh out of the wagon is fucking hilarious. Them picking up Chris Mannix, his backstory, his history, his character against Major Warren's character, the fact that they've got this racial tension there. Everything just feels so uncomfortable, but at the same time weirdly so natural because I'm not going to pull a gun if you don't pull a gun, kind of attitude. Like, okay, when we get to Minnie's haberdashery, I love just the interplay with all those characters. I love Tim Roth's explanation about justice. Take you into town, it's justice. We do it out here, it's wrong. But there has to be no passion in it. I don't care about you or the next person I hang, And I'm sat there kind of like, maybe we should bring back the hangman. I don't mind. But we think it's frontier justice, isn't it? What's the difference between Samuel Jackson shooting a bad guy in the face to hanging somebody from a tree? I don't know. Don't want to try it. I love the fight. I say fight, but it's not really a fight. Just the discussion, argument between Smithers and Samuel Jackson, Marquis' character, about what he did to his son. There's this whole history there of him having a $50,000 bounty on his head from the South for all the...
5,000.
No, it was 50,000 at one point by the South. That they put it on, and then they dropped down over the years because everybody who had gone up against Major Warren hadn't returned. They all died, and he's happy about that. He's like, that's what I fucking do.
Yeah.
Love Kurt Russell. Everything that Kurt Russell does, from him smashing up a guitar, which is 105 years old, to him beating up Jennifer Jason Leigh, to him spitting out blood and dying. Love Jennifer Jason Leigh's development of character, just how quiet she is at the beginning, all the way up to when she has to get the machete to chop off Kurt Russell's arm, and she's fighting the last two survivors. Absolutely love, favourite scene, fucking Channing Tatum getting shot in the face. I didn't realise how good of an actor Channing Tatum was until I watched Hateful Eight. And then I kind of wanted to go back and watch other stuff. The whole ending sequence, from the moment of chapter 4 with the poisoning, Minnie and Sweet Dave being killed, the final shootout, the final discussions, just the camera work is amazing, the acting is amazing, the character delivery is amazing, just amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the whole film. It's really hard to pick out single kind of moments. But of course, Bob's death, it's going to be once you
Mexico
see that.
Bob.
Yeah, I love practical effects. I love horror movies, and so I love Tarantino's kind of penchant for over the top gore effects.
Yeah.
And that one is one of my favorites. I love the whole flashback sequence, both the flashback sequences.
Yeah.
They really kind of help. Set everything up again. I like the narration. I know some people, it kind of broke the film for them doing that, but I'm so used to Tarantino kind of time jumping.
Yeah, I'm like...
But for me, it just felt kind of natural within the film. Kurt Russell, he's amazing. And I love his hurt expression, when he finds out that the letter is fake. Just his expression just tells you everything.
Tells you.
And of course, and him breaking that guitar. Yeah, brilliant. But before I get to my recommendation, there is one major criticism that I do have for the film.
Okay.
And that is the fact that we have two kind of legendary bounty hunters in this film. I call them legendary because they've lived to the age of 60 plus.
Yeah,
and they've managed to take in all these bounties.
And they've got reputations. Yeah,
and they've got reputations, and they know about the reputation about the gang that John Roof is bringing in.
Yeah.
Yet he doesn't know any of her gang members. Like not one of them doesn't recognize them.
No.
I'm pretty sure there would have been bounty portraits or pictures,
Yeah.
put around. And when he walks in there and the whole gang is in there, he doesn't recognize them. And part of me is just like, oh. Maybe I understand that cinematically it works, but when you think about it, it's like he should have known.
Yeah, but I mean, we discussed this before we started the recording, and I just had this thought. Now, maybe he did know, but he can't make a move unless he's got full on evidence. We got that fully established in the film, so he's waiting for them to make their move, so that he can kill them and be like, hey, I told you it was a bad guy. Because he tries to explain it to, the rest of the guys. And Samuel Jackson's like, you're just paranoid, mate. You're paranoid with us in the wagon. You're going to be paranoid all the way to fucking Red Rock. And so that kind of helps me, is it to go, yeah, that's why he doesn't recognize it.
Sure.
I'd already said that, there's moments in the film you're thinking, why don't they make that move? Why don't they make that move? The movie is like 2 hours and 40 minutes long, just amazing stuff that I'm like, you can forget it.
Sure. But yeah, I mean, I highly recommend The Hateful Eight. In fact, this might actually be my favourite Tarantino movie to date. The cinematography by Robert Richardson is just sublime. It really captures the mood and the landscapes beautifully. And being in super widescreen, it gives the film a stage play vibe.
Yes.
And it's able to show and capture all the background goings on. I also love all the hateful characters. The script and all the performances are great. Jennifer Jason Leigh also steals many of the scenes. Samuel Jackson and Kurt Russell also fantastic. The score is perfect, although it did take me out of the film for an instant because you're like, I recognise that from The Thing or The Exorcist 2, The Heretic. You're like, literally just stole the music. But then again, it was, the same music composer, so...
Yeah, he didn't steal it. He just went, I'm going to put that there because it works.
Yeah. But Tarantino held my attention for nearly 3 hours, and I didn't want the story to end.
No.
I could easily watch this again, and would highly recommend this to anyone that's a fan of cinema.
Knock, knock. Who's there? Quentin Tarantino with a movie. Save, wait, watch it.
Thanks for watching Off the Shelf Reviews.
Listen for a moment, lads, and hear me tell my tale. How o'er the sea from England shore I was condemned to sail. A jury found me guilty, sir, and said the judge said he.
When the hangman catches you, you hang.